Hello, my little ghoulies. It is the season. So a few years ago now, I made a video poking around the world of Etsy witches, shopping around for some cool spells, and I figured my experience wouldn't be complete without actually trying to purchase a spell. And I did so. I chose the demonic initiation ritual. It was basically a reading that was supposed to tell me which demon I should work with should I want to get into demon stuff. And despite being called a demonic initiation ritual, it actually seemed like one of my least scary options, since it wasn't claiming to have any sort of effect on the real world. It was just some helpful advice, you know? And some of you have since wondered what happened with that, because the video did end on a cliffhanger. I had to post it before I was able to get the results of that spell from the seller. So I did not receive anything from the seller in the promised amount of time. So I messaged them and received various excuses for why it hadn't been done yet. Then I continued to not receive anything. So I messaged them again. I received more excuses. Eventually the maximum amount of time for them to deliver the product according to Etsy's terms of service or whatever runs out, and then I have to go through an Etsy appeals process to try and get my money back. And I did eventually get the refund through Etsy. So that one seems like a pretty obvious scam, relying on the fact that most people probably wouldn't go through the effort to go through Etsy to get their 10 or 15 or whatever dollars it was back. But I'm a spiteful person, okay? It's not about the $10. It's about the principle, okay? I felt cheated. I wanted that demonic initiation ritual, and I remain disappointed. But before we get into it, a word from this video's sponsor, Aura. I got this report about you.
About me?
I got this 11-page report about you.
What are you talking about?
It's me, Mr. Data Broker. You excited to get a call from me? I know all your aliases. I know your Tumblr URL. I know what you're doing. I got your Hotmail. I know you still use Hotmail in the year 2025. A list of your possible relatives and all of the dates you last saw them.
Can you name one of my relatives?
I can name... You feel good about that? You feel comfortable sharing all of this information?
No, you personally scare me.
Good. I'm a scary guy. This is an example of all of the kinds of information that data brokers really collect about you, and they don't have any qualms about who they sell that data to. That's how all kinds of annoying spammers and scammers keep getting a hold of your phone number and email address, but also how your information can fall into the hands of even more sinister parties like identity thieves or stalkers. Aura identifies data brokers that are selling your information and automatically removes it, and then continues to do so to make sure that the information stays off of those sites. Plus, it's got a whole bunch of other online security features all in one convenient app. Aura will send you alerts if your personal information is found on the dark web. It gives you real-time fraud alerts for credit and banking, a secure VPN, antivirus, and password manager. You can try Aura for free for 14 days over at aura.com/strangeeons. In those 2 weeks, Aura can give you a pretty good idea of how many data brokers out there have your data and start removing that information. It is an amazing, helpful resource, so make sure to check out that link in the description down below. Okay. I need to go wash my face because I think this duct tape is not good for my pores. Anyway, throughout that whole video, I was a skeptic. I was suspicious of how this industry might prey on emotionally vulnerable people the same way that spirit mediums or fortune tellers historically have. And the disappointing outcome of my purchase seemed to confirm all of those suspicions. And then I honestly sort of forgot about Etsy witches until 9/11. You know what I mean though, because I feel like a lot of fun facts were learned following 9/10, something happened or whatever to some guy. You know, I think I saw him before in this Tumblr post where people progressively shrink his face. But who gives a shit? Because I think we might have finally found some real Etsy witches. Jokes aside though, I am not a particularly spiritual person at this point in my life. If witchcraft is your thing though, that's awesome. I am not trying to poo-poo on those beliefs. What I am cautious about is more so the internet. The pervasiveness of scams on the internet, because while I'm sure there are many witches who sell their services on Etsy with wholesome intentions, it is also hilariously easy to scam people in this context where your product is not a tangible thing. So just be careful out there. That's all. So in case you guys are unaware, you're probably aware, but in case you're unaware, there is this Jezebel article. We paid some Etsy witches to curse Charlie Kirk, and this was posted 2 days before his death. So it aged really interestingly in those 2 days and has since been removed. However, I am a big fan of my own type of witchcraft called typing things into the Wayback Machine. I have unearthed it. I'm going to start off by reading you some quotes from this article. He tells auditoriums full of young women that our freedom is a flaw, not an achievement. He is obsessed with declining birth rates and idealizes the 1950s when women's only job was tending to children and husbands. If we all abandoned our careers and returned to motherhood, we'd be happier, according to Kirk. Indeed, he fails to realize that I would be happiest if he would just shut up. Jesus did this age, interestingly, in 2 days. I mean, girl, I guess you got your wish, but unfortunately we're hearing more about him than we ever wanted to now. Throughout history, society has branded bold and assertive women as witches to silence them. Since Kirk already assumes every liberal, college-educated woman is a feminist witch hellbent on destroying civilization, even recently declaring that the Jezebel spirit has just infected an entire generation of young ladies. Shout out, yeah, the website Jezebel. I'm not super familiar, but it's like a feminist women's kind of space. It takes the name from the biblical figure Jezebel, who's like the OG bad girl figure, reclaiming that in a way that they're proud of. If Kirk wants a villain, I'm more than happy to be the hag of his nightmares. Now, is it ethical to curse a man I've never met? Probably not, but is it unethical to let him keep talking? Yes. So here we are, in the gray area. I want to make it clear, I'm not calling on dark forces to cause him harm. I just want him to wake up every morning with an inexplicable zit. I want his podcast microphone to malfunction every time he hits record. I want his blue blazers to all suddenly be one size too small. I want one of his socks to always be sliding down his foot. I want his thumb to grow too big to tweet. To ruin his day with the collective feminist power of the Etsy coven would be my life's greatest joy. She only wants to cause him silly little prank to your harm, not genuine bodily harm, certainly not death. So the writer browses various spell offerings on Etsy, including shit your pants spell, with a review that says, it really worked, thank you. She decides that, you know, there's such a tempting variety of spells out there that she's gonna have to buy multiple just to cover her bases and stuff. And she finds that a lot of the witches that she talks to on Etsy are just as much businesswomen as they are witches. Once she buys one thing, they'll start offering her expensive spell boosters to make it more effective. One of them even tells her that she, like, senses negative forces that are attacking her and offers to sell her protection spells, which is pretty transparent. And then finally she reaches out to a seller named Priestess Lilin, who seems just a little more honest and down to earth than some of the others, and is even willing to answer a lot of her questions about how pricing works and how these things work in general. Priestess Lilin explains to the writer, the difference in prices aren't really about better/faster magic, but rather the complexity of the spell work. Some workings are small, focused intentions with minimal tools, while others are more intricate and involve rarer ingredients, more time, and sometimes even repeated castings to build up and direct the energy for our clients. I wonder what ingredients she used to curse Charlie. A mega hat submerged in flames? An IUD? And if enough people cursed a single person, would the result be stronger? When I asked her if she'd noticed more political figures being targeted these days, she said yes. Clients often turn to spells when they feel unheard or powerless in the usual systems. Our magic becomes both a personal release and a way of reclaiming control, she wrote. So that is fascinating, and I completely believe it. First of all, I completely believe that political figures are increasingly the targets of Etsy spells. There's definitely some common staples that you'll see while shopping for Etsy spells that sometimes revolve around, like, destroying people's reputations, giving them bad luck. Those are obviously very tempting to cast on your hated politician of choice. But I looked on Etsy, and apparently now you can find stuff even as specific as Hex Republican's sigil, Hex a politician, Hex JD Vance Hex. And unfortunately, you're just gonna have to believe me about those examples because I didn't screenshot any of them. I just saved the links and now they're gone. That could definitely be due to some new articles popping up, some new comments that have been made about Etsy witches in the past 2 days. Maybe the sellers removed them to avoid any of that scrutiny falling on them, or maybe Etsy itself is now removing expressly politically motivated spells because nothing comes up anymore when I try and search for that kind of thing. Am I on a list somewhere now? Awesome. The next day, the priestess sent me her proof of cast, a photograph in flames, the edges slowly curling inward, engulfing Charlie's ridiculous, scrunched up little face. She whispered, I imagine, trust the unseen. Chills. And then he died for real in real life. Okay. Okay. Truly no one could make this shit up. The day of the shooting, an editor's note was added to the article saying, this story was published on September 8th. Jezebel condemns the shooting of Charlie Kirk in the strongest possible terms. We do not endorse, encourage, or excuse political violence of any kind. And then a few days later, the story was taken down altogether. I think the original article was really clear about not wishing him genuine bodily harm, and this would have remained funny This would have remained just like a really kind of funny, clever article if he had not actually died. But I see why they felt the need to remove it. But there's actually another Etsy witch-related story that's going kind of viral right now, and nobody dies in this one. On September 5th, a fan of the Seattle Mariners baseball team tweeted about buying a $15.99 spell on Etsy to quote-unquote unfuck the baseball team. I'm not a sports person myself, but I have access to Google, so from what I understand, this team was doing like really abysmally bad for like a long time. Fans were desperate. It was hard times out there being a Seattle Mariners fan. So tweeting about buying an Etsy spell to fix the team is kind of like a haha funny, look how desperate we are kind of moment. The thing is, this terrible team has had a non-stop winning streak since then.
The Etsy witch is real. It is real.
Insane winning streak since the moment the spell was purchased. The fan who bought the Etsy spell has been invited to games and interviewed on the news. It seems like a crazy time to be in the Seattle Mariners fandom right now. Have fun with your sports, guys. But it's a coincidence, right? It's gotta be a coincidence, right? Because Etsy witches aren't like real, right? Well, a UK news outlet asked Priestess Lillian exactly that question, asked her how she felt about being possibly implicated in the death of a certain podcaster. And she said, speaking for herself and her sister with whom she runs the Etsy shop, "I would like to say first off that a person's life and death always has weight, and we do not celebrate the loss of life. With that said, throughout the witchcraft community, many of us believe that spells, magic, and curses are very real and can bring about profound change in this world, whether it be through psychological or metaphysical means. While we cannot claim literal responsibility for Mr. Kirk's death, we do affirm that the magic we work with is effective. When you work with that in alignment with the collective energy, it can manifest in unthinkable ways. We hope that this sums up our stance on the matter. Thank you for visiting our shop. Infernal blessings, Priestess Lillian." Incredible stuff. We cannot take literal responsibility. But yeah, magic manifests in unthinkable ways. We might have done it. Okay, the internet being what it is, I would actually expect this to be really good advertising. I would expect her Etsy business to be booming right now. However, the attention did seem to skew more negative because she has since removed her shop due to the amount of harassment that she was getting. So half of this is wrong. Yes, she did get a lot of negative attention, but the shop was actually removed by Etsy due to mass reporting. However, we can still peruse Priestess Lillian and her sister's offerings on their website. So let's take a look, why don't we, at some effective Etsy magic. The homepage, rather confusingly, features the Jezebel article, one non-blurred screenshot, and one screenshot that is censored for legal reasons. Make them take accountability karmic spell. Only $13. That one's pretty affordable. Make them lose their job spell. Generational black magic curse. It's okay. It's on sale though. Casper, stop climbing my monitor, please. Okay, generational black magic curse asterisks not for everyone. Please send in your target's full name, birth date, and other information required for the specific spell of your choosing. You will receive a free spiritual cleansing and informal energy scan to check your energy before the spell. We do this to ensure no external factors affect the integrity of our spell work. Your spell is then casted within 24 hours. Upon completion, photo and video proof will be sent to you. Please note this ritual is not suitable for everyone, and we reserve the right to reject and refund any request we deem unsuitable. As this is spiritually potent and has energetically permanent side effects on the target's whole family and loved ones, we call upon the infernal lords of the Goetia, demons, to corrupt the target's bloodline, affecting the target's living family members, loved ones, and future descendants down the line. Any potential lover or friend that tries to remotely get close to them will feel the same spiritual effects and be energetically repelled to cut ties with the target. This is pretty serious business. Now, because of this curse, there will be a list of spells that we are going to cast, and is already included in the pricing to protect not just us sisters, but you from any karmic backlash. Tarot card reading, divination to reveal any hidden factors that may thwart the curse. Spiritual cleansing for everyone involved. Target will have their spiritual protections banished, leaving them vulnerable. Spiritual protection spell for the client. Karmic transference puppet spell for the client to avoid any karmic backlash. Raising the energy and honoring it in the 4 infernal demon kings. Generational black magic curse is performed. Banishing on our side is casted again to get rid of any lingering negative energy that may affect you and us. Follow-up tarot reading divination to check for updates. What this ritual does: permanent generational curse that spreads like a spiritual plague from the target to everyone in their bloodline. It's pretty straightforward. Oh my god, wait, okay, does their footer say as above, so below? That's really funny. Location, a random hut in the United States. Services, let's see. Okay, what else do we got? Infernal Justice, black magic spell. Good weather, perfect wedding spell. Do you want to curse someone's entire bloodline? Or do you just want good weather on your wedding? Punish your bully's justice spell. Powerful demonic protection spell. Enchanting mermaid hair growth spell. Intense return to center. What? Return to center egg spell. What? Intense return to sender egg cleanse spell. What is this? Okay. Product description. Life isn't fair. When someone sends negative energy curses or the evil eye at you, it can drain your positivity and willpower. Nature, however, always gives a solution through its material bounty. The return to sender egg cleanse spell is a potent pick-me-up mirror. Never too late to wipe the spiritual gunk off of you and throw it back to the person who deserves it. Okay, so if somebody, for example, curses every generation of your family forever, and you just want to throw some of that negativity back at them, you can use the return to sender egg cleanse. You can egg them. But what about all of the built-in protections with the generational curse? Does the egg cleanse not work if you protected yourself? Wow, magic is really just playing 4D chess with each other, isn't it? What this ritual does: energetically identifies and clears evil eyes, hexes, and minor curses. Major curses require a special curse removal session. Okay, so I'm guessing the generational curse is more of a major curse. This wouldn't work on that. Is an egg cleanse spell a common thing in witchcraft? I want to Google it. Egg cleanse spell. Egg cleanse. How to? Thanks, Reddit Witchcraft. Okay. An egg cleanse is used to remove negative energies from the body and environment, best performed on a Sunday or a Monday. View results by looking into the side of the cup. Never view looking down into the cup. Light your candle, take your egg, and rub it all over your body. Oh, you mean before? It's not cracked. Okay, you're just rolling a whole egg over here. Sorry, okay. I'm a good student, I promise. Crack the egg into the water and wait 5 minutes to read your results. Let the candle burn out on its own. When finished reading the results, you can add some salt, then flush down the toilet. Don't watch it! Or you may return the negativity to sender depending on your results by adding chili pepper, cayenne pepper, red pepper flakes, or... Oh. Then flush and do not watch it go down. Reading the results. You flush an egg down the toilet, and then if it foams, there is something unknown brewing beneath the surface? Yeah, an egg! Yolk does not sink. Someone intentionally sent you negativity. This is crazy. I hope this was useful to someone. Have a great day. It was. It was really... This is so delightful. I have one egg in my fridge right now, and I was looking at it today, and I was like, what am I gonna do with one egg? God damn, I need to grocery shop. I think I figured out what I'm gonna do with one egg. Not yet, though, okay? Maybe there's even better things I can do with eggs. Let's see. Reconciliation, relationship, repair, love spell. Make them hate each other spell. Oh, I guess these are blurred out, because, these on the dolls is the names of the people? Whoa, okay, what is this? Stop gossip, powerful, shut up spell! That looks like some kind of a heart. What is that? Girl, what is that? Oh, it's a mouth. It's like a plastic mouth with something shoved in it. Before you see the lips, it looks like some kind of an organ. Are you tired of toxic gossip, harassment, or relentless meddling in your life? This Stop Gossips and Shut Up spell is designed to silence those who spread lies and negativity about you and or your loved ones using powerful, banishing, and demonic magic to enforce karmic justice. The information that they need under the How It Works section, it seems pretty similar for most of them. You always need to send in the full names and birth dates of your targets, and I think your own information as well. You receive a free spiritual cleansing and energy scan to check your energy before the spell. Your spell is then casted within 24 hours. After 1 month, you may choose to opt for reboosting the spell. This premium level wealth spell, $13.50, is crafted for those ready to step into extraordinary financial flow and maintain it for the long term. Designed for entrepreneurs, investors, and creators, and visionaries. Make them think of you. Obsession spell. What has happened to the little paper doll this time? She is submerged. You put her in the soup. You put her in the liquid. with an ice cube, it appears. Get the job and get hired fast spell, in which you get mauled by a turtle. Social media followers and fame spell! Oh my god. Give me 2 million subscribers, priestess. Personalized spell casting. $90! Let's be honest, not all situations can be solved with a ready-made spell. Some situations demand something deeper, a spell specifically tailored to you, aligned with your energy and circumstances. This is where the true magic shines, when intention, timing, and spirit working converge in a way that cannot be replicated for anyone else. Do you use white or black magic? The shop offers both forms of magic. However, most white magic is casted by Priestess Lilin, while black magic is casted by High Priestess Lamashtu. In rare circumstances where your spell requires the aid of both, we will both cast it at no extra cost. If you have a preference for the type of magic utilized, please highlight it in your request. Let's see if we can find any other kind of abouts, FAQs. Hello, we are a pair of two sisters, bound not by lineage, but by own relentless curiosity for the occult. I'm Lilin, the younger sister, and the face of our little ritual shop. I walk the path of benefic magic, also known as white magic, for healings, love, abundance, and divination. The energy of my craft is soft but precise, like moonlight blanketing the river waters. My older sister Lamashtu walked a different path, a darker one, and she had to fight for our survival when we were growing up. Her work mainly revolves around malefic magic, also known as black magic like curses, obsession spells, and pact making. She prefers not to speak with clients. Ooh, mysterious. But every spell crafted with her energy yields fierce results. So the spells that were bought by the Jezebel writer were probably casted by Lamashtu then, but she interacted with Lilin because Lilin is the face of... Got it. This is more than a shop, it is a dark sanctuary for those who require both genuine guidance and a raw power to take control of your own lives. Whether you need personal guidance from me or a storm of change from my sister, we will be there to weave for you. Thanks, guys. Some quick FAQs. After receiving confirmation that your spell has been casted through email, sorry, what a phrase, I love the modern era. After receiving confirmation that your spell has been casted through email, do take some time to hold your breath and recite a short affirmation before breathing out your intentions into the universe. Make sure you are well hydrated and avoid straining yourself for the next 24 hours. I mean, that's just good advice in general. Minor physical symptoms like headaches, lightheadedness, or nausea is normal and will go away within 24 hours. Is my information safe/confidential? We take privacy and client information very seriously. We are aware that some spellcasters, specifically Etsy spell shops, may use private information to blackmail the customer. Oh my god, is that a problem? But rest assured, we will never share or sell your data. Whoa, okay, that's a rabbit hole. I want to know about that. Due to legality purposes, we cannot promise 100% success rate, as spells are spiritual in nature and can only be offered as curious, entertainment, or metaphysical goods. Magical results may vary in accordance to the individual involved, personal alignment, and planetary timings. All major debit and credit cards are offered at checkout through Stripe payments. Okay, but before we all start rushing to buy spells on Etsy and assuming that witchcraft has the ability to kill right-wing podcasters, I feel like this... We need some context here, okay? The context being that people are cursing politicians and public figures literally all the time. The Witches versus Patriarchy subreddit is generally a pretty benign space just for people to share their personal stories and ask for advice and post memes, like pretty typical subreddit community. But it did once coordinate efforts where users would come together to cast hexes on Trump. So they'd like all get together at the same time each night and cast hexes on Trump so that their power would be combined. I also found this interesting article from the Toronto Star of all places. I mean, I get it. I'm also a Torontonian who's fascinated by this stuff. I get it, but anyway, this article is talking about like the growing mysticism in American politics on both sides of the spectrum. In 2017, an online community of witches got together to cast a bind Trump ritual for the first time, and they've been doing it periodically ever since. On the other side, there's this one evangelical influencer who like gathers people in mass prayers during his tour. They think Trump is the chosen one. These groups may be wildly different in what they're fighting for, but how they're fighting for it looks very similar, says Sabina Magliocco, a University of British Columbia professor who studies the modern witch movement. They're turning to the supernatural because they feel like they have no other choice, Magliocco says. They're looking to tip the scales in their favor using whatever means possible. You will recall that Priestess Lilin also mentioned an increase in high-profile targets for spells going on within the witchcraft community. It's not just her, it's going on all the time, and it's been going on since at least the first time Trump was president. But honestly, probably before that. Witches have probably been cursing politicians they hate since, like, witchcraft has existed. But the increase as of late, I think, is an interesting symptom of the political situation getting increasingly deranged and our responses to it getting increasingly desperate. Witchcraft especially makes so much sense as a tool for the disenfranchised. The magic often centers around taking back control over one's own life, which I think was pretty clear in the type of spells that we were looking at today. It's an alternative form of power that appeals to people who are powerless within the ruling systems. Witches have always been associated with the weird girls, the outcasts, the rebels, the knowledge seekers, the kinds of people who might be terrified by the direction America is taking right now. I know I am, and I don't even live there. When people feel powerless, they'll resort to pretty much anything that might make them feel better or useful, even if it's a complete shot in the dark. Even if you don't even really believe in this stuff, and part of the appeal is that it's kind of funny and cathartic, like with the Jezebel article. That article obviously had a comedic tone, but it did hit on the real phenomenon of our increasing feelings of powerlessness and screaming into the void at all of this. Should you buy an Etsy spell to solve your problems? Probably not. I'm gonna go for probably not. I think Etsy witches probably can't kill right-wing podcasters with internet magic. But who's to say, really?